Hey everyone, it's Don with Don's Field of Dreams Cards. This video I'm going to do tonight was inspired by a video that I saw on YouTube that listed the top 25 players who got voted into the Hall of Fame, not by the Baseball Writers Association, but through the Veterans Committee. Now this isn't the top 25 best players in my opinion, it's just 25 cards of players I actually have. So I don't have Johnny Mize anymore, I don't have Archie Vaughn. This does not include Negro League players, and there's a whole list of guys that got in that I didn't have cards. But I thought it'd be fun just to show some of my cards and talk a little bit about their election. So I'm going to go from 2025 back to 1984. So the first player you can see here is Dave Parker, got elected this year. His first year on the ballot, it was 1997. He got 17.5% of the votes. His last year on the ballot was 2011. He got 15.3. He actually went down, and you'll see that quite a few players that happened to. His highest voting percentage was in 1998. He got 24.5, and there were 14 years between when he was last eligible for the Hall of Fame to when he actually got in. And thrilled that Parker is getting in this year while he's still around. His fellow classmate, Dick, or as this card shows, Richie Allen, also obviously got in this year. His first year of eligibility was 1983, where he got 3.7%. And I'm not sure why he was still on the ballot, because in 1979, the 5% rule was incorporated or implemented. So you're going to see some other players. So I'm not 100% sure why he was still eligible to be on the ballot. But 1997 was his last year, where he got up to 16.7%. In 1996, he hit 18.9% as his highest vote percentage. There were 28 years in between Dick's last year of eligibility when he got in. It's a shame that he's not alive to see that. Next guy, Fred McGriff. This card's actually special to me because one Christmas my son bought me a box of these cards, and I pulled this card from a pack and got it graded, so it's always got a special meaning to me. He got in 2023. 2010 was his first year on the ballot. He was received 21.5% of the vote. His last year, 2019, he got 39.8%, which was also his highest amount. And he only went 4 years in between being kicked off the ballot to when he got in. Next, we got Jim Cott. Cott got in 2022, and there was 4 guys from the Veterans Committee. Now, I know some of these guys, there's other names for the committees now, but to keep it simple for this, I'm just going to call every year they got in the Veterans Committee. So Cott was originally eligible in 1989, got 19.5% of the vote. His last year, 2003, got 26.2%, and his highest year was 1993 at 29.6%. And 19 years in between his last year of eligibility to the year he got in. Also in 22, we've got Gil Hodges. There we go, get a little glare off that. 1969 was his first year. He got 24.1% of the vote. 1983 got 63.4%, which also was his highest. So he got fairly close. One time you had 15 years on the ballot, where it's now 10. So some of these guys you're going to see a longer span. But Gil had 39 years in between his last year and when he actually got in. Tony Oliva, also 2002. His first year was 1982, got 15.2%. 1996, he got 36.2, and his highest year, 1988, was 47.3, and it was 40 years for him to get into the Hall. Next, we got Minnie Minoso. Now, Minnie originally got his first vote in 1969, but he came back into baseball. So his clocks, officially it was 1969, 1.8%, but 86 is when it started again. And 1999, he got 14.7. His highest year was 21.1. so never got a ton of the votes, but I think a lot of people would agree he was well deserved. Now we're moving on to 2020. We got Ted Simmons. He was only on the ballot 1 year, 1994. He got 3.7%, so that's his highest. He got kicked off the ballot the first year, and that's the only guy, I believe, on here I'm going to show that got kicked off in the first ballot. And it was 26 years in between that year that he got kicked off until he got into the hall. All right, following Ted, we have Lee Smith. Lee Smith got in 2019. His first year was 2003. He got 42.3%, so that was a pretty good start. But he never got close. 2017, his last year, was 34.2%, and his highest year was 2012 at 50.6%, and he only waited 2 years to get in. Everyone's favorite Hall of Famer, Harold Baines. He got in 2019 as well. 2007 was his first year on the ballot. He got 5.3%. 2011, he got 4.8%. In 2010, 6.1%. And Harold waited 8 years to get into the Hall of Fame. And with those voting percentages, I can see why a lot of people, amongst with his stats, believe he should not be in the Hall of Fame. But he is, so he's included. Next, we got Alan Trammell. There we go. 2018 is the year he got in. First year eligibility was 2002, 15.7% of the vote. 2016 was his last year, 40.9%, which that was also his highest as well. And he only waited 2 years. So some of these guys, fortunately, didn't have to wait a long time to get in for the Veterans Committee. And unfortunately, some did. Next, we got Jack Morris. 2018 is his year he got in. First year, 2000, he got 22.2% of the vote. 2014, he got 61.5%. In 2014, that's an error because I have a 67.7%. So maybe that was 2004 and I wrote it wrong because there's two different numbers. Another guy that unfortunately did not get into the hall while he was alive was Ron Santo. His election year was 2012. 1980, his first year on the ballot, he got 3.9%. Another guy that was after 79 was under the 5%. So if anyone knows the reason behind that, I didn't see it in my research, please put it in the comments. 1998, his last year, he got 43.1%, which was also his highest percentage. And he went 14 years in between last year on the ballot and getting in. Next, we have Joe Gordon. Joe Gordon, his first year on the ballot, he got in 2009. His first year on the ballot was 1955. He got 0.4%. 1970, his last year on the ballot, he got 26.3. In 1969 was his highest amount at 28.5%. He went 39 years in between his last year on the ballot getting in. 2001 electee, Bill Mazeroski. 1978 was his first year on the ballot. He got 6.1% of the vote. His last year, he got 42.3%, which was in 1992, and that was also his highest percentage vote, and he waited 9 years to get into the Hall of Fame. In 1999, Orlando Cepeda made the cut. 1980 was his first year, 12.5%. 1994, he got 73.5%. Him and one other guy I'm going to show later were so close to getting in. I don't know what the actual vote count was on this guy, but it had to have been under 5. And that was his highest year as well. And he went 5 years in between last year on the ballot and getting in. Next. I was really surprised this guy needed a Veterans Committee ballot. I thought he had got voted in. And there's a couple guys on here that, surprisingly, a few that are coming up that didn't get voted in by the writers. But Larry got elected in 1998. 1966, he got 2.3%. 1967, he got 3.4%. And that was his highest vote percentage, which that is unbelievable to me that it was that low for him. And he went 32 years between the last ballot for him and getting in. So unfortunately, he was still around when he got in. Next, another guy that I didn't know needed the Veterans Committee was Nellie Fox. Got in 1997. First year on the ballot was 1971. He got 10.8%. This is the guy that I was talking about that was close. He got 74.7%, and you needed 75% to get in. I believe I read that that was 2 votes short of getting into the hall. And obviously that was his highest year. And he went 12 years in between the voting process and the Veterans Committee electing him. Kind of repeating myself here, but the next few guys I'm going to say I would have guessed got voted in by the Baseball Writers Association. Richie Ashburn is one of those. He got elected in 1996. 1968, he got 2.1% of the vote. 1982, he got 30.4%, which was his last year on the ballot. And 1978 was his highest at 41.7%. He went 14 years in between the last vote and being elected. Next, we have former Senator Jim Bunning. When I say senator, I mean politician, not the Washington Senators. He got elected also in 1996 with Ashburn. 1977 was his first year on the ballot. He got 38.1%. 1991, he got 63.7%. Check this out. 1988, he got 74.2%. So you got to think, if you were Jim Bunning, like, in the next 3 years, I'm getting into the Hall of Fame. And he actually went down 11 percentage points. So I never understood, if 1 year you think the guy's a Hall of Fame material, and the next couple years you don't. But Jim Bunning waited 5 years in between. Okay, next we have Phil Rizzuto. And he got in 1994. 1962 was his first year on the ballot, 27.5% of the vote. 1976 was his last year, where he got 38.4%, and that was also his highest vote total, and he waited 18 years to get the call to the hall. I don't know if anyone knows, I brought the old background back from my original videos, Bobblehead and Maz and the Pirate Pennant. Red Shandienst. I have the hardest time pronouncing this guy's name. He got in 1989. 1969 was his first year on the ballot. He got 19.1% of the vote. 1983, he got 39% of the vote. And his highest year was 1988, 42.6%, and he waited 6 years. If you're still watching, I appreciate it. We got the last 3 guys. We got Bobby Doerr. Got into the hall in 1986. 1956 was his first year on the ballot. And he got 2.6% his first year. His last year, he got 21.7%. And his highest ever in 1970 was 25%. And 15 years for him to get the call. Next, we have Enos Slaughter. Enos got in 1985. 1966, his first year on the ballot, he got 33.1% of the vote. Another guy who was so close to making it, not as close to the other guys, but his last year on the ballot, 1979, he got 68.8% of the vote. And his highest total was the year before, 78. He got 68.9. So the final guy, I had no idea needed the Baseball Writers Association to get him in. And that is Pee Wee Reese. He got in 1984. 1964 was his first year, 36.3%. His last year, 1978, he got 44.6%. And his highest total was 47.9 in 1976. And it took 6 years for Pee Wee to get into the hall. So that's it, guys. Just trying to come up with a creative way and maybe educate you a little bit. Creative way to show some cards here that y'all have seen before, but a little bit of a story behind it. So as always, guys, thanks for watching my video, and I'll talk to you soon.